Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. Compassion is a power you all have within you to tap. It's one of your superpowers. But as with some superheroes, you may not be fully aware of this power, so I'd like to make you more aware of it. I'm not exaggerating when I say this is a superpower. What makes compassion a superpower is that it's powerful and highly available. It is inborn and requires no development. It is ever present and ready to serve you whenever you need it. And it's easy to use. It requires no effort, only an awareness of it and a willingness to use it. Usually, the only thing in the way of using your compassion is not realizing the value of it. If you don't use it or use it often enough, you might not be aware of its power in your life. It's in using it that you discover that compassion is powerful. But like a lot of things, it's easy to take compassion for granted and not fully use it. It's easy to forget that it's there, and easy to forget to use it. So I'm here to remind you of it. It might be helpful to name some times when using your compassion is called for, so I will do that. One of the most important times to use this superpower, to practice compassion, is when you feel bad about yourself. Compassion needs to start with yourself, or you'll never be able to feel real compassion for others. How you treat yourself is how you'll treat others, and how you treat others reflects how you treat yourself. So we must start there. How do you treat yourself? What is the tone of the voice in your head like most of the time? Does it scold, push, criticize, judge, shame, compare? It probably does all these things. Do you realize that this isn't a true voice, a voice that says anything true about you, or even anything useful? Do you realize that you don't have to pay attention to it? The trouble is that if you believe this voice, you become what it says you are to some extent. For example, if it tells you that you're better than others, then you'll see yourself this way and treat others as less than. You become that because you believe that. Maybe others don't see you that way, but they likely will if you keep talking and behaving accordingly. You may think that seeing yourself as superior is treating yourself well, but it isn't. It's a cover-up for feeling bad about yourself, a defense mechanism. You're not really fooling yourself. When you see this about yourself, the remedy is compassion. Have compassion for the predicament of being a human being who has a voice in the head that misleads and creates false identities. That voice tells you things that aren't true, things that make you feel bad about yourself or puff you up as a compensation, and it makes you do things you later regret. This voice isn't who you are. At your core, you are a loving being who wants peace, love, and unity with all. Can you feel the truth of that? Of course you can, if you stop a moment to find that within yourself. You don't have to go to battle with this voice. What it needs is compassion. You see the voice in your head for what it is, and you have compassion for it. Then you're freed of all its negativity and false identities. What a superpower compassion is. Seeing this voice for what it is but fighting with it can't free you from it. That just keeps you engaged with it, and not liking it won't help either. Seeing it for what it is isn't enough. You must give the voice in your head your compassion. Compassion aligns you with who you really are and frees you from this voice. From the vantage point of compassion, you're able to experience yourself as other than this voice. What is compassionate? What is capable of compassion? It is your true self. When you choose to give yourself, your false self, compassion, the false self dissolves and stops being a problem. You are free of that lie. The false self is a lie that spins and perpetuates lies. It spins the great illusion that you are a separate and lacking self, while the truth is that you are the divine masquerading as a human being. Compassion frees you from the illusory world of the ego. Free to be what? Free to be the divine being that you truly are. The truth sets you free to experience yourself differently, as good, kind, loving, and a blessing to others. Compassion allows you to love yourself, and this spills over to others, because when you love yourself, you automatically love others. Compassion for yourself allows you to feel compassion for others, which is what you need to relate to them more positively and what they need to heal and love themselves. What other ingredient could accomplish such feats? Loving yourself, loving others, and healing others. As I said, compassion is a superpower. Compassion is also the antidote for every negative emotion you ever experience. Negative feelings indicate that you've bought into one of the egos, the voice in your head's lies. That's okay, that happens. But when you find yourself feeling sad, angry, upset, regretful, ashamed, or some other negative emotion, give yourself some compassion. It's hard being human. You deserve compassion, just as every other human being does. You are doing your best, and every other human being is doing his or her best in this messy, unpredictable world. In truth, it's not that the world is so difficult, or even that life is so difficult, but being human, having an ego, makes it so. Every human being has a similar ego. No human being has ever been born who didn't have the programming we call the ego, which challenges even the strongest and most advanced souls. No one lives perfectly. No one is a saint. No one never gets caught in the ego at times. Everyone is doing their best with the knowledge and understanding they have of the ego and the human condition. You are fortunate to see the truth about the voice in your head, because then it becomes easier to apply the solution, compassion. If you don't understand the problem, that the problem lies in the voice in your head, then how could you know the solution to this problem? But once you know what the problem is, you can apply the solution, compassion. However, before you understand this, to the ego, compassion sounds weak. It doesn't make sense. Compassion doesn't seem like a solution to anything. Unless you realize that compassion is your ticket to another state of consciousness, you'll overlook compassion and think it's unimportant. You won't recognize the power in it. Compassion shifts your consciousness from the egoic state of consciousness to your divine nature, your best self. Your default is actually to be your worst self. That deserves compassion, wouldn't you say? You are given a default that causes you to feel negatively and react to life and to others with negativity. That is not your fault, so this deserves your compassion. And others deserve compassion for this same reason. This is not to condone the negativity perpetrated by the egoic state of consciousness, but simply to state a fact. It's not your fault that you're programmed with negative beliefs that lead to negative emotions that lead to harmful and ill-conceived actions. This is the human condition, and it deserves your compassion. Once you know this, then you can be free of this chain of events, negative beliefs leading to negative emotions, leading to negative actions. Compassion frees you from this chain. That's powerful. Compassion frees you to be your best self, because the truth is that you are not your worst self, but essentially a good person capable of great and kind acts. So far, I've suggested you give compassion in 2 instances, to your negative ideas about yourself and your negative emotions. The 3rd instance is to give compassion to others for the same things that you give yourself compassion for. Are they behaving badly? They deserve your compassion. Are they feeling angry, hateful, or sorrowful? They deserve your compassion. Are they attacking you, blaming you, hating you, judging you? They deserve your compassion. It's challenging to feel compassion toward others when they're treating you badly, and yet that's what is needed to diffuse the situation and heal others. Conflicts and upsets can only happen when 2 people are engaged in conflict and egoic behavior. Compassion is the antidote to any conflict. Summoning compassion within yourself in such a situation is not capitulation or enabling or being a victim, but taking constructive action to shift the consciousness of the person who's attacking you, or to at least avoid bringing your own consciousness down. Your compassion may come in the form of kind words, words that show that you understand how that person could feel that way. Or compassion may simply look like staying calm and disengaging so that your consciousness doesn't fall victim to the other person's ego. Sometimes the best that your compassion can accomplish is to remove you from the situation and allow the situation to de-escalate rather than risk getting your own ego involved. Later, your compassion might be expressed as forgiveness, either silently within yourself or reflected in your actions toward the other person after things have calmed down. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. This is as true as it has ever been. So many are lost to their own egos without even knowing what that means or what to do about it. They're victims of their programming, with no understanding of this or clarity about how to change that. The truth is out there, the answers they need, but they don't even know that. You are the lucky ones because you have stumbled upon the truth. How many lifetimes did it take? And so it will take others many lifetimes before they're ready and willing to see the truth. This time is shortened for some as human evolution is being accelerated. And yet, for the most part, humanity remains at quite a primitive level, even after 2,000 years and much technological development. Those of you who know the truth must count your blessings and share with others as you're able, and have compassion for those who don't understand what you do. Thank you, dear ones, for being here. I am with you always.